A few months back, I started a poll on Instagram asking you whether you know about LECA or do you have any plants growing in LECA. And to my surprise, the majority of you answered no. So I thought I should introduce you to this medium on my channel and also share with you my experience with it till now. I already had a few plants growing in LECA, but just for the sake of this video, I started a few new plants in LECA. Let's see how that went. Hi. Today is the 10th of October and I have decided to start a few plants in LECA. Till now I have used LECA mainly for propagating plants. So instead of propagating plants in plain water, I use LECA as medium. And once they have rooted and established themselves in LECA, I move them to the soil. Something was stopping me from growing plants permanently in LECA, maybe because of the nutrient factor, and I was not sure how to provide them nutrients, but we'll get to that later. But this is how I've been using LECA till now. However, for the past couple of months, I've been surrounded by a lot of inspiration on Instagram and YouTube of how people use LECA to permanently grow plants, and they have only good things to say about it. It is so much in trend, especially here in Germany, that they have a whole section in the garden center dedicated to hydroponics. So I've gained some courage and decided to let some of my plants grow in LECA, especially those that are not doing well in soil, and also some cuttings that are growing in water. Before starting the process, let me explain to you what I have understood about LECA and semi-hydroponics till now. LECA stands for Lightweight Expanded Clay Aggregate, or in simple words, they are just baked clay balls. Since they are porous, they provide a lot of aeration for the roots of the plants, and they are also supposed to have water absorption properties. Okay, so let us start. What I've done before recording this video is that I washed LECA in plain water. It is recommended to do this step to remove dust that comes along with it. Also, it is recommended that we soak LECA in water. I'm using some hot boiling water here. There is no prescribed time for how long it should be soaked. In my opinion, the longer the better. I let sit mine for almost 2 days now. This was not intentional, I just wanted to soak it only for 24 hours, but I couldn't shoot the video yesterday, so it has been sitting here for 2 days. But can you see the amount of water that has been soaked by these LECA balls? There is still some water in the middle, but the rest everything is soaked up by these LECA balls. So I feel it is important to soak LECA before using them. As I said, longer the better. I've seen many plant parents use LECA without pre-soaking them in water, but here you can clearly see that it has absorbed a lot of water. I personally don't see any difference in appearance, for example shape or size, after it has been soaking in water. So that's about LECA. Now let's get to the exciting part. I have some plant cuttings here that are ready to grow in LECA. For this I have chosen a pothos, which is freshly cut from the plant that you see behind. I don't know if you can see that. For any experimentation, I always go back to my good old pothos because they are very resilient. I have a Ficus benjamina cutting which has been growing in water. I propagated them a few months back. I showed that in this video. I also have a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma cutting. This is also freshly cut from the plant. For growing plants in LECA, I'm using 3 types of containers. The first one is the normal glass bottle. So they recommend to put a hole at the bottom, not here, but at the side, almost at the 1/3 level from the bottom. This is to flush out any minerals or salts that is deposited in LECA. But I'm going to use it without the hole, and I'll be mindful about watering and also regularly clean the LECA balls to remove the excess salt formation. It's mainly because I don't have the bit to drill the hole on a glass. The next type of container is these fancy containers from the garden center, which are dedicated for hydroponics. Basically, it is a netted plastic container with the holes at the bottom portion. This is, I think, mainly to flush out the excess salts. This also comes with a water level meter, which helps us to find out what is the existing level of water without having to take the pot out. And there is also a cover ceramic pot. All these are not very expensive and I find it aesthetically pleasing. So I just wanted to try it out. I just have one of these, so I'll be using it for one cutting. Inspired from these pots from Garden Center, I'm also going to try out LECA in the normal nursery pot with holes at the bottom and a normal cover pot. So these are the kinds of pots I'll be using today for growing plants in LECA. Basically what you need to do is put some LECA balls at the bottom of the container. Just fill in 1/3 of the container with LECA balls first. Now take the cutting. So I'm going to remove the lower leaves, place it in LECA, and fill the rest of the space with LECA balls. That's it. I find potting very easy compared to the soil and also less messy, which is always a plus for me. In the nursery pot, I'm going to place the Monstera siltipicana. This is a plant that has been growing in water for so long. Actually, it had more leaves, but it got attacked by thrips. And now I'll try to move it in LECA. So while using nursery pots, make sure that there is not a bit of soil in them because that can really rot the roots. So make sure 100% that you remove the soil from the roots and the pots. I'm going to fix the water level indicator to the pot. Yeah. Unfortunately, I ran out of LECA to pot my Ficus benjamina, but I'll do this after this video. Now let me pour water into the plants potted in LECA. So for this, there is a minimum level, optimum level and maximum level. So I'm going to fill water until the meter reaches the optimum level. Okay, now it has reached the optimum level. So I leave it at there. So I find it really handy, already impressed. Now for the glass bottle, I'll fill the bottom 30% with water. Yeah, so that is it. And the same with my nursery pot. Yeah. Currently I use normal tap water, but they recommend to use distilled water. And also there are a lot of aspects of hydroponics like pH control, adding nutrients to the water, which all looks complicated to me at the moment. Right now I want to keep it really simple and use just normal tap water and maybe some diluted seaweed solution to fertilize these plants. Maybe in the future, once I get a hang of it, I'll try all the other aspects of hydroponics. Easy, right? But we are not done here. I'll be back with the update soon. So, welcome back to the present. 8 weeks have passed. Today is precisely the 30th of November and I owe you an update. I have all my plants with me arranged here, which we started together along with a few other plants that are growing in LECA. So, let us start with this one, the Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. So, it looks good. Nothing to complain about. There is also a new growth over here, if you can see that. Now let me show you how the roots look. So if you remember, I started this cutting freshly in LECA. So I just took the cutting just before shooting the video. So it had no roots. That's what I wanted to tell. So let's see how it has rooted. This one has rooted very well and it has also some LECA attached to it. Let me see if I can detach it. Yeah. Okay, I'll not try to pull it off. Let it remain there. It's okay to remain there, and if you want to pot it back to soil, it's okay to pot it along with the LECA. It's fine. So there are some good roots for this one. It has rooted very well, and this one, to my surprise, has not developed any roots. So I can see there is a bump over here, a root is forming, but it is surprising that it has stayed well without any roots. So that's the update from Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. Let me plant it back again. So this time I have potted it a little bit more deep so that it can form more roots from the nodes. So that is one advantage of using LECA. It is very easy to check the roots. That's that. The next one, let's move to the pothos. I'm not quite happy with how it is doing because as you can see here, there are some browning tips. I use tap water to water my LECA. I don't use any distilled water. And 2 weeks back, I had given it some diluted seaweed solution. So I don't know if it did not like it. So I am yet to conclude what causes this browning tips. If you know, if you have any ideas, please comment down below. So let's check its roots as well. Okay, so there is some rotting that has happened. Might be due to the seaweed solution, because other than that I don't think there is any reason for it to rot. So I'm just removing the rotted parts. Yeah, I'll wait for a few more days to conclude what is wrong with this. This was also a fresh cutting which we started. So there is a root over there, but something happened in between and I guess it is the seaweed solution. So what I'm going to do is I'll wash all the LECA balls thoroughly in water. Also the plant in water, maybe spray it with some neem oil solution. and then plant it back again in LECA, and I hope they'll revive soon. Since it's pothos, I don't have much concern about it because they'll bounce back. So I had mentioned 2 months back that I'm going to plant Ficus benjamina as well, the one which has rooted in water, but I did not do that. Instead, I took 2 new cuttings from my Ficus and wanted to see if I can propagate it in LECA. There is one which is completely dried off, so I'll remove this one. Maybe I did not plant it deep enough. I can see that there is water in this portion and none of the nodes were immersed in water. So maybe that could be the reason why the cutting dried off, but that's okay. We have 2 more cuttings which are, I think, doing well. There are 2 new growth and there is also 1 new growth over here. But these 2 cuttings, I'll keep it as such. I think it's too soon to check on the roots because I just planted it a week back. So I'll let it remain there and wait for it to root. I'll give updates as soon as it roots. There was one more plant that we started 2 months back. That is my Monstera siltipicana. If you remember, I planted it in a plastic nursery pot which previously had soil in it. So I had washed it thoroughly as much as I could to remove the soil. But the Monstera had a lot of roots, if you remember, and it rotted. And now it looks like this. I'm a little bit embarrassed to show you this, but it's okay. There is a new leaf that is being formed and also a new root is forming from underneath. So let's see how that goes. So I felt really sad that I lost a bunch of roots from this plant, and also there were 3 leaves, if you remember, so it all died off because of the rot. But I'm happy that I could save at least a small portion of it because it is a rare plant and you cannot find it so often in the nursery, so I didn't want to lose it. So I'm keeping it along with my ficus in the same pot, and once it roots, I'll give it its own pot. So that was my update on the plants that we started 2 months back. Now let me show you some other plants that I have which are growing in LECA. Let's start with the 2 silver swords or Philodendron hastatum. This was a gorgeous plant I had with very big leaves, but I lost all the leaves of the plant and almost the entire plant to thrips attack. But I could save 2 stems out of it, and now as you can clearly see, they are doing well. They are coming back with a lot of new growth also on the top. So I'm happy that it is doing well in LECA. So next one we have my Enjoy pothos. It's also a cutting which I started propagating in LECA. The mother plant was also attacked by thrips, but I still have it with me. It is coming back. It is doing well now. But to be on the safer side, I took a small cutting from the plant in case if I lose the entire plant to thrips, I don't have to buy a new Enjoy pothos. I can grow a whole new plant from this cutting. So that was the motivation of starting this plant in LECA, and I think it is doing pretty good. And there's a new growth over here. I hope you can see it. I have a few cuttings of silver pothos also growing in LECA. If you can see through the glass bottle that the roots have formed. It's growing very well, and there is a new growth over here. This plant is also doing very well, enjoying its time in LECA. And I have one more interesting plant, which is my ivy. Here also you can see the massive root formation through the glass bottle. So this ivy is doing really well in LECA. I know ivy is not a plant that everybody has luck with. It is sometimes hard to grow ivy indoors. I've seen a lot of you struggling with ivy on Instagram. If you are having problem growing ivy, then try to change the medium to LECA, because I find that the ivy that is growing in LECA is doing way better than the one which is growing in soil. It's too soon to conclude anything, but that is my first impression. So just try it out. Take a cutting and put it in LECA. Maybe it will grow better than the one in soil. So except for this pothos and my Monstera siltipicana, everything else is doing well in LECA. As I've mentioned before, I'm using tap water to water my plants in LECA, and I'll continue to use diluted seaweed solution to fertilize them. If I find some problems with it, I'll update it on Instagram. I'll also thoroughly clean my LECA balls or flush them out once in a month to avoid any salt deposition in the medium. I'm really impressed by these pots which are dedicated for semi-hydroponics. It makes flushing out of LECA balls very easy because there are some large holes at the bottom, and also watering is very easy with this tiny water meter. You don't have to lift the pot every time to check the water underneath, so that's very practical. As you might have already noticed, I'm growing plants that belong to the aroid family see in LECA, like pothos, monstera, philodendron. Such plants like to have good aeration in their growing medium and never likes overwatering. So I think LECA is helping them there. But there is a whole other category of plants like succulents or calatheas, which I'm yet to try. It is definitely interesting to grow your plants in LECA because it is less messy, less root rot, and I think it is ideal for indoor gardening because we have to deal with less amount of soil inside our home. I'll definitely do a follow-up video after a few months to show you how my plants are doing in semi-hydroponics. This video was just an update or a journal sort of a video. I hope you got some takeaway from this video. Also feel free to share your experience with LECA in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. As always, we'll meet in the next video. Bye and take care.